going up. You can't take from us. We ain't slowing up. Look what life gave us. Always going up. You can't take from us. We ain't slowing up. Look what life gave us.
All right. We are live in the building.
Yes, sir. And I am your co-host of the Free Your Mind podcast. And I go by the name of Woon, and I'm all about balance from the womb to the tomb. What's popping?
Exactly. And I am another co-host by the name of Selfmade. You gotta love yourself, and you gotta be self-made in the end. You know what I mean? So hey, and we have a special guest. Let's bring her in.
Marvel.
Okay. We still posting these links out real fast.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'm trying to get these out right now. Book, and we gonna be good.
I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm keeping it 1,000 like this. I had put out the APB on Facebook.
That's a lot of feedback. A lot of feedback.
Oh, wait a second. Uh-oh. Let me move this one. What about now?
Okay.
Yeah. That's better.
All right.
Okay. So yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes.
I hear you.
Oh, okay, because my said that I was muted, but that was probably the old thing.
So yeah, I put the APB out on Facebook. We looking for different topics and discussions to have on the podcast, and I got a lot of different responses and topics. So in the future, Woon, we got we got a lot of stuff to be talking about. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But the one that caught our attention the most was yours, Mar.
Thank you.
So yeah, we had to. We was like, oh yeah, this is one we got to talk about for sure. You know what I mean? Like, right on up our alley when it comes to the wavelength and the frequency. So we definitely looking forward to it. I see you about to pop something. What you over there popping?
Oh yeah, man. I'm gonna, I got the baby bottle today, but it's all good.
Okay.
Hey, pour me one of those.
It's all good. Y'all know because this is we're gonna have a great conversation. So I like to allow people to be who they are and come as they are. Like, you know what I mean? So I'll be drinking my little champagne, So feel free to do that. We like around here. It's gonna get deep, but we're gonna have fun while we going deep.
Okay. So do we have any viewers yet?
Let me see. It says we got one person watching right now.
Okay.
There we go.
We could give the people a chance to come in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see.
So while they're doing that, if you want to or did you want to wait until people come in? Because it's still going to be documented. But if you want to wait or however you want to do it, but I just want to give her, the opportunity to give her, proper introduction.
Right.
Did you do last time, something?
I don't think so. Not like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, I'll go by the name of Woon. I'm a Sacramento, California native. I'm actually
what?
a Sacramento, California native.
Okay.
I'm actually out here in Vegas right now, but it's still all good. It's still all love. I am who I am wherever I am. And speaking of I am a representative of the I am, and also this up gang, and that just means that I came to the conclusion that, I am actually the controller of my destiny. Let me repackage that. That didn't come out right. I am the generator of my destiny, the participant and the observer of my own destiny.
Okay.
If that was clear. Next time you might hear me say a whole different thing. But it's just, just representing self and self-love and self-awareness. That's what the basis of it is.
Okay.
Oh, she said that she's in here, but she said that she didn't see the live chat though. Is that chat?
Yeah, it's the chat's open.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
It is. It says privately talk with the host and other guests.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can hear me because I saw that you had muted me, but I'm not muted.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Well, so yeah, I mean, we could kick it off. They can watch it on the rerun if they miss it.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, if you want to do a proper introduction of yourself and
okay.
the things that you may have studied, or how you came into this type of information, all the good stuff.
Well, I came into this world, and my parents named me Martha Valier. I came in through the state of Mississippi, raised in Louisiana, traveled a bit, and how I came to this, I don't know. I was raised Catholic, and I always felt that there was something missing. I didn't like going to church, and one Sunday morning, my mom came to wake me up to go to church, and I became defiant. I didn't get up and go, and that was disrespectful to her, but I felt that there was something like really missing in the church. So I left the Catholic Church. I became a Baptist. Still something was missing. I became a Jehovah's Witness. Still something was missing. I became a Muslim, Farrakhan Muslim. I even went to Savior's Day in Chicago. Still something was missing. I went back to what they call a New Age church. Then I tried to get my son to go to church. And when I went to wake him up, he wasn't home. He had left home and went to a friend's house. He was about 16. And I'm like, why did you do that? He says, Mom, I believe in something totally different. He said, why should I go to church and pray to Jesus, who is Jewish, but Christians are praying to Jesus, two different religions. So I started thinking, he's right. We've been conditioned to believe so many things when we are growing up until we just fall in line with the generation after generation. So I was on YouTube one time, and then this guy named Ralph Smart came on, right? So I started listening to him. I'm like, he's pretty deep. He's like, he be talking about diving deep and going into your mind and freeing yourself. And then I started listening to Nature Boy, and he really kept captivating me with what he was saying. But some I'm not being really judgmental, but some people, they talk to you and they have some really good insight on what they're saying, but they more or less try to capitalize off of people using the truth or what they may feel is the truth.
Right.
And the truth is free. The truth is free. And then I started listening to Eckhart Tolle. My favorite person to listen to is Alan Watts. He's really, really deep in understanding that there's more to this life than what we see or what we hear. You know, you really have to really sit down with yourself and understand that there is other realms and other dimensions. And, you know, always have vivid dreams. It'd be in color, and I'll be like, you know, so I'll be asking people like, for instance, once I had a dream like a month ago that I was walking down this path and there was some like maroon flowers in the path. And as I looked up in this toward the sky, I saw this mountain and clouds over the mountain. And to the left of it was this colorful rainbow spectrum of colors. And when I looked away from the sky and I looked down in my path, it was yellow illuminated flowers. And I walked into this room. It was a white room, and there was two entities in there. One I couldn't make out; they were in a corner, and another one was a female, and there was a shower head, and the water was just dripping. And she looked at me and said, "Oh, don't worry about this shower. This is not yours. But in the next room, you're gonna have a really great shower." And she told me that I was chosen. And when she said that, I looked down and there's a piece of paper there, and there's some words in it, but I just saw my Facebook name in it, Marval. And I'm like, okay. So I went to grab my camera so I can take a picture, because when I looked out the window, I saw the sky and the mountain. I went to take a picture and realized that I had left my phone, my wallet, everything behind. And I'm like, then I woke up. And
I like that.
My dreams are weird. And another time it's like I'm in a car or some kind of vehicle, and the car is going down this road, and on each side of the road there are trees, and in front of me is like a forest. And I just kept driving, and when I went through the forest, it was nothing. It was just void. It was nothing. No sound, no nothing. I was just there at peace. I'm just telling you my dreams right now. And until people come on, then I'll talk about nobody can enter into heaven. I'll get to that.
Gotcha.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, another dream I had. I was sitting on a train, like the what's it called? Something Express. It's like in the snow, whatever. Some movie. But anyway, I was on this train, and all I could see in front of me is this white road and an endless destination. And I was just sitting there, and it was just so peaceful. And it's like, you know, the dreams are weird. I know some people call it lucid dreaming. Other people will say that you're in an astral realm or in another dimension. And if you would compare it to the movie Avatar, it's like when a person goes to sleep, their body is dead, but their spirit is in another dimension or another world. And you know, nobody really knows what all this is all about, really. But one thing's for sure, if you want me to go ahead and get into the nobody can go into heaven, I can start that.
Before we go there, I want to ask a couple questions. If you don't
Okay.
mind.
I don't.
One thing I found it kind of dope because you said your name was Martha. What was it?
Valier.
Valier. Okay. You French? What is that? Is that French?
Louisiana French.
But I see,
yes.
I see that, you know, Marval, so now I understand, you know, what that is.
Yes.
And
I put it that way because of like on my Facebook it says, what is your business? Or something like that. And I'm like, mind yours. Mind your business. And I put it Marval because, you know, I figured that, you know, somebody's always watching us and trying to get in our business, see what we're doing. And at this point in my life, I don't care. You know, it's like I'm gonna live my life according to the way I feel about it. And you know, there are certain laws and rules and regulations that I break all the time because I feel that, you know, like I have a lot of questions, and when I question people about things, they're like, because that's the law. All right, yeah, that's the law, but like we were all born into this world as free spirits. Everything in the world belongs to all of us. So who or what gives any certain right to say, okay, I'm going to take this land with all the fruit trees on it, and now you're going to have to pay for the fruit. Who gave you the land and this fruit so that you can capitalize off of something that's free for all of us? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's certain things that I won't even get into that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. But anyway, carry on.
I just have to ask a question about, because you just now re-triggered the question when you said that you are naturally rebellious, right?
Well, you can call I guess you can call it rebellious if you want to look at it in the terms of being a human being. Yeah, you can call it rebellious.
Right.
But for me, it's more I'm free spirited. I'm not contained in a box because you said I need to go take a COVID shot. No, I don't. I'm not taking it. You know? And people are like, you have to do this. Look, first off, we all gonna die from something, right? So I'm not taking your medication. I'm not taking your COVID shot. When I die, I'm gonna die naturally. I'm not, and that's where nobody can enter into the kingdom of heaven comes in.
All right, so look.
Before we get there, let me get to my question real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And just by because everybody, we can see each other. You look probably just a little bit older than me, right? Like by at least 2 years, right? So
Watch yourself.
But when we were coming up, right? Going to or not going to church was not really an option like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like we couldn't give any type of, excuse, explanation, anything like that. And in my mind, I was just thinking like, probably when you were coming up, it was probably a different time. So in my mind, it would seem like everybody definitely didn't have that option to not go to church. So was that easy for you back then, or what was that?
It was not easy. It was hard in the sense that I was being defiant and disrespectful to my mother when she told me to get up and get ready for church, and I decided I didn't want to go because it wasn't doing anything for me. It just didn't seem right. And and I guess, in a sense they would call it being rebellious.
Right.
Or disrespectful, but I feel that it was more of being a free spirit and being true to myself and not to the generational curse of like following in everybody else's footsteps because that's what they did. It just didn't feel right to me.
Gotcha. So you was like the Rosa Parks at church and shit.
I guess you can put it that way in that analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because just in my mind, I would think that back then, like it was like we could probably play sick or just I don't feel good today, but it seemed like back then, like y'all had to go, like that was the staple of the Black community and shit. So
Yes, it was, but like I said, I just felt that something was missing, and I mean some of the things that the Bible says, if you look at it not on a religious tip, but more logical, then you can understand some of the things that it says. It says that one of the things it says is no one can wait. What is it that I'm trying to see? I wrote that down because I am older than you, so I may have forgotten.
I can pick up my phone so I could take my notes and
right,
because I'm gonna have 1,000 questions. I gotta make sure everybody gets to talk. So I'm gonna fall back after, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna let Selfmade get his questions in. Like I'm gonna write mine down.
Okay. Well, it'll come to me. But some of the things that I wanted to really speak on is why I feel that nobody can enter into the kingdom. Well, that's your subject. Why
Yes.
nobody can enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now, my thing about heaven and hell is this, right? Nobody has died and went to heaven or went to hell and came back and said, "You better be good or you're gonna go to hell. It's a hot place." And be real about it. This is something we were taught. I
Right.
think that heaven and hell exists as we are now. Like I was saying earlier, if you go through something and you stay stuck in it, your life is going to be hell because you're miserable because you're living in the past and you're stuck there. That's your hell. Your heaven is when it happens, you accept it, and you move on. That's your heaven and hell. Now, when a body dies, I know we say, yeah, we're going into the next dimension, or we're going to elevate, or we're going to be reincarnated. Really, nobody really knows that. But one thing that I know for sure, and get this though, nobody really knows anything about anything. We can only speculate based on what we feel we know or based on what we've been taught. But one truth is the truth is nobody is going to leave this earth and go to wherever the spirit or soul is going to go once the body is gone. And when I said nobody, I'm speaking about nobody, no human body, not my body, not your body, not his body, not her body, nobody. And no matter how hard a person take some medication, eat healthy, don't eat healthy, drink, don't drink, do all the right things, do all the wrong things. Nobody is leaving this world. Those bodies die.
Now, there's a good question in the chat, and it says, "What about the people who have near-death experiences where they die for a couple of minutes and come back? What would you say to that?"
Well, since I am not those people, I can't tell you what to say about that.
Have you ever came in contact with somebody who had a near-death experience, or have you yourself ever had a near-death experience, or even just an out-of-body experience?
Oh, well, whenever a person dreams, that's an out of body experience. So I've had plenty of those. I've had dreams where I'm a passenger in a car driving through a graveyard. I've dreamed I was taking a bath in blood. I've dreamed I fell off of a mountain onto some mud and slid to a carnival.
Now,
Those are out of body experiences,
right.
you know. But as far as the people that has the near death experience, I can't answer that because I've never experienced it. Now, those that have the out of body experiences, maybe they saw what they saw, but it could have been based on something that they heard when they was growing up that would happen to them. If nobody really knows for sure. You know, I don't know. Have you had a near body death experience before, or anybody you know?
Well, we've talked to somebody who've actually flatlined on, the doctor table, and what he said was that he went up. He was able to see his body. I think if I'm saying this correct, I could be paraphrasing certain parts, but he went up and seen his body, and he heard a voice that told him that it wasn't his time yet. Am I right, Woon? Is that what because you was there when this was brought about?
Yeah. So he said that I guess because he in this particular time he died a few times. So he said that that he heard a voice in his head, which what he would say he would give back credit to God. And he said that God was telling him that it wasn't his time, and there was actually an angel. I forgot what name he said that the angel was, but it was like it had a J in there somewhere. Is she still?
Wait, here she comes.
Okay. So so he said the angel was the one who actually escorted him back into this plane. Like, you know what I mean? So he said that he basically was not here. So he said whatever plane that he was in, it wasn't of this world. So he would tell you that he's seen, quote unquote, the other side. I don't think he said it was like heaven. I don't think he said it per se, but he just said that it was not earth.
Right.
And so that's a good question to say, like, so when we're not in our body, where are we? And that's
right.
Probably got to unmute her.
She's not muted. Or maybe she said, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, I just know I seen her body language like if she was talking.
Right.
I couldn't hear anything.
She said, my lucid dreams go crazy too.
Yeah, lucid dreams are, man.
She said, I've left my body and looked at myself laying in bed, sleep, but I wasn't dead. And see, that's the thing.
I've had that same shit. That shit is crazy.
Right. Well, once I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, your heart hasn't stopped. That would be the only difference. Okay, she's back.
Type shit.
So for the person that said that they flatlined and they went to some other place that wasn't here, and it says it's not your time yet, and you said it happened to him several times. So I guess the question would be, so the spirit was ready to go, but the body wasn't ready to go, or vice versa? I mean, why would the person keep flatlining and then this voice tell them it's not time to go? So why are you going? Why are they trying to make the person go if they're not ready for the person? If that makes sense.
And see, I understand that. Or did you want to say that? Because I was going. You want to take that one, Self?
No, that's a good question. And like, yeah, there's so many, I guess, different avenues you could look at it from.
Right.
Like the doctors with their machineries and all these different things and technologies that they got to bring the heart, or to make the heart start pumping again, and then it flatlines again. It's almost like you were saying, when it comes to the natural death, it's like that was potentially the time for him, and they kept messing with the energies to keep it, to prolong it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I definitely want to add, because he had they were riding motorcycles, and there was a person who was with him that did not make it. Like he passed on. So what he was saying that I don't want to say it like that, but in his ignorance, in my mind, he was saying that, well, that guy wasn't so lucky, and I was lucky because he passed and I didn't. And we talked about
and you can look at that statement in different ways.
Right.
It's the guy that passed, the lucky one.
That's what I was going to say.
He does. That person doesn't have to deal with the evilness or the wickedness or diabolical way of the world, and I wouldn't even say it's the world. I'm going to see the entities within the world. When I'm driving in this world, I feel like Earth is an entity just like I am, like you are, the birds, the snails, and the Earth is hurting because we're always digging in it, pulling up this hair to the trees, the hair off his head. So I feel that the Earth is hurting too. I feel, I don't know, but I feel that everything in this world has to hurt in some kind of way, because that's the way the realm is, and it's really hard to come to terms with the question that everybody asks: why are we here? Well, not everybody, but some of us that thinks along that line. Why are we here? Some people say we're here to find out who we are. We are God, and we're experiencing ourselves in different forms and fashions. And one of the things And sometimes I might be gone here and there, but to me it all connects. Um, Ellen Watts was talking about the bee and the flower. Like the bee and the flower, even though as human beings we see them as two different entities, they're really one because one can't live without the other, right?
Right. Exactly.
And there's just so many different facets of things that one can ponder on and still don't come up with a conclusion. Except the one conclusion you can come up is nobody is going to leave this world and go wherever the soul or spirit or the breath of life is gone, because no matter how hard you try, the body is going to die. My brother passed away last month, well, in October, which is why I'm in Louisiana right now. And I watched him like, and I spoke with him in spirit. Like he was like really like you can tell his body was fighting to stay here, but I know his spirit was ready to go. You know, and everybody, they of course they're grieving. Like they don't want to see. They want to see my brother the way he was, and I'm trying to explain to them, which I think they may have thought I was being insensitive, but I wasn't. I'm like, everybody's going to die. You can't, you can't hold on to your body here when the spirit and the soul is ready to leave the body. It will, and the body will die. And they just look at me all like, and they're crying. I'm like, you have to accept that a part of birth is death.
Right.
And to put it in, Jesus rose from the dead on the third day or whatever. I'm like, to me, Jesus is symbolism of the human body. You come into this world, you go through your trials and tribulations during your journey in this life.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's time for you to go, the body will die, but the spirit is going to raise up. I don't know how true that is because I don't know, but I feel that I know that. So, yeah.
So when you say that the actual topic, the question, can you make it into the kingdom of heaven? So in this, I want to ask you, like, do you mean like what do you consider the kingdom of heaven? And now, from listening to you, are you talking about the physical body, or are we talking about the spiritual part of us?
I'm talking about the physical body. And okay, one of the Bible quotes says, "Why gain the world and lose your soul?"
Gotcha.
Now, if you look at it in that aspect, it's like, okay, like I said, nobody really knows what happens really after you die. But according to a lot of Catholics or other people, when the body dies, if you haven't learned your lesson or the reason why you were here, then you're going to be reincarnated and come back until you learn your lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person's in this world and they would prefer to do, things, and everybody has their own life's journey and to do what they want. But if you do and things that is not going to elevate your spirit and your soul, then you can't enter the kingdom of God. You have to come back as a human or a rock or whatever you're going to be incarnated into and live it over and over again. And I feel I know that until you know that even though your body and your spirit are one as we exist in this world, it's still separate.
Right.
So there's, oh my goodness, it's like I said, I be all over the place because to me everything is all encompassing. I feel that every human body has their spirit, their soul, and this other entity within the human body. And that other entity, if I'm going to say, like the Bible says, Satan, get behind me. I think what that means is that entity that comes into your mind and be saying, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you should go and kill that person. Oh, you should rob that bank. That entity there if you know who you are as a spirit and soul, then that entity cannot make you do anything. You can tell that negative thought to get behind you. Like, you don't have control of me. But there are so many people stuck with that entity controlling their lives, right? So those people, I feel, are going to be reincarnated to come back until they learn who they are as a spirit and soul. That's just my opinion. I mean, it might sound like I'm being arrogant, but I'm speaking my truth. Am I perfect? Yes. Are you perfect? Yes. Everybody's perfect in their own way. Everybody do what they do, whatever it is that they do. And for me, if I look at somebody and they're doing something I wouldn't do, I'm not going to judge that person because that's not my journey. That's that person's journey. That person does what they want to do. If I am doing something and somebody don't like what I'm doing and they're judging me, well, they're judging themselves. They're not judging me because I'm doing me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And and actually another thing, I'm gonna apologize in advance because I'm all over the place. Another thing, I think that every person that we meet in our lives is just another version of ourselves.
mm,
And if that version of myself, if I like that version of myself, I'm like, okay, I can hang around with you because, I like that part of me. But if I meet a version of myself that is too loud, a liar, or something that doesn't resonate with me, that part of me, I'm not gonna judge you, but I'm not gonna hang around with you. There's a lesson about yourself in every human body that you encounter. There's another version of yourself, you know.
right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that I
So
would. Come on, go ahead. Man, I had so much shit to say, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna just speak upon what you just now said. Those different reflections of ourselves. I know you said that you listen to Nation Boy and he calls it reflections, right? And
yeah, I haven't listened to him in years because there's too much other stuff going on. I think that
right,
like the saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And from each person that was like resonating with me, like making me realize things that I already knew that I may have forgotten. It's like it elevates to a different somebody with a more higher elevation or what's the word, enlightenment. With each person that I look at, somebody that's more enlightened would come up and they start talking, and then I'm like, I know this, and I think that we all know certain things, and it's when we start to understand who we are as souls and spirits that we can resonate with people that are saying things that we already know. But if a person has a closed mind and is stuck in what they were taught, then they could never reach that level of enlightenment. They're just stuck. And everybody has their own life journey. So
yeah. And I was just gonna say, like, going back to what you said about somebody else, we being able to learn from other people, and other people are just reflections of who we are.
yes.
You know how they say like angels have like a light, like they have a specific light about them. I like to say that everybody has their own angle of light, right? And
Yes.
and if you do a certain wordplay with angle and angel pretty much would be the same thing in that manner. So I highly believe that that other people would be our angels because they allow us to see who we are from their
Yes.
particular light. And again, going to what you just said, there's a lot of things that we do know, not everything, right? So
Oh,
people,
exactly.
people people sometimes think that others put information into us, but I don't think that that's true. I believe that they pull information out of us, right? Or they make us remember
Yes.
what we already know. You understand what I'm trying to
Right.
say? If you
Yes.
didn't, if you already know something, then there would be a miscommunication barrier by default. Like you'd be like, well, what are you talking about? But because we're all we all contain the same energy and consciousness, then only thing we're doing is exchanging different angles of light. And just like you said, sometimes some people are so closed off that they will not see other people's perspective, which is absolutely fine. Just like you said, they might have to double back 1, 2, 5, 7 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
right now, I highly believe that that we are, reflections of ourselves, and that we're here. That we couldn't even know who we are unless we had somebody else opposite, quote unquote, of who we are. Period.
Yeah. And I believe I listened to a little bit of your podcast from yesterday, which I didn't know was on. And I thought it was where somebody was saying, yeah, I know it's polarity.
Right.
Polarity or duality. And for the most part, in this realm, everything is polarity. If you look at it in a human perspective, there's not, it's here, there's there, there's stop, there's go, there's, everything is like in opposition.
Right.
But that's kind of like the balance in this life. But outside of that, if one thinks outside of being human, like I be trying to explain who I feel that we are, outside, what's inside of this body. It's like I really believe it was Alan Watts that said this years ago. He took it. The example was a vase. A vase is in existence because there is a container there, and you pour water in the vase, and now the vase contains the water, or the empty space. However you want to look at it, it contains this empty space. But the vase is there, but there's an empty space in it. These buildings are here, but outside of the building, it's an empty space. The trees are here. All this infrastructure, all this stuff is here that contains empty space. So in the breath of life, which nobody can really explain what it is they call it air. I call it the breath of life, but nobody can really explain what it really is. Without all this infrastructure and all the trees or any human beings or anything, then there's nothing but void. There would be nothing. And I think that basically what's inside of all of us in this body is the nothingness, which is everything.
Hey, Selfmade, and you know, I knew that she was going to go there, right?
I knew she was. I already seen it coming.
Let me see, because I think I'm gonna do this every episode. On my pendant, this I am at the top it says everything, and at the bottom it says nothing, and that's kind of like one of the principles or one of the understandings that we came to understand that we are nothing and everything simultaneously or at the same time.
Right.
And there's also because I deal with mathematics over anything, so there's a mathematical equation that deals with the number 9. I also highly deal with the number 9, but it will show you how things are basically everything and nothing at the same time as well. For people who don't get it when we say it, I can show people mathematically how it still works.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a bar.
Yeah, she spit that bar, and I saw that train coming, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going as soon as it comes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel that that is another truth. I mean, because actually, I was at one of my niece's birthday party about a month and a half ago, and her son, who's about 8, I call him an old man, an old wise man. He says, if I wanted to make something, how can I do it? I'm like, well, first off, everything starts from nothing. Then you have a thought. And with that thought, you see what you want. And then you work your way toward getting there. That's how it is. I mean, everything starts from nothing. I mean, you could look at it in from a human aspect, because everything starts from nothing. Or you can look at it in a spiritual thing, because basically you can't, because we don't, as humans, we try to put time an existence, but we can't because we don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. Can't get one without the other. So that's one of the mysteries of this life. And um, I really wonder what's going to happen with me, my spirit, my soul, my breath of life when this body dies. I want to know. I really do. And I told my kids, as soon as my body leaves this world, I'm gonna come back and tell you if I can. They say, "Oh, don't do that." But I'm serious though, because you know sometimes when I'm flying in a plane and I look at the clouds, I'm like, I wonder if these clouds is the breath of life of all the people that whose body has passed on, and they're just up here like enjoying nothing. I mean, we just be going through the clouds, and suppose those entities that whose body died and they were angry are the thunder clouds and the ones that looks like they're really mad. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
mean, the mind can make you think of all kind of scenarios, but still, when I say I speak my truth, I'm speaking what I feel I know. But like I said, nobody really knows anything about anything. you know
When
I
you
mean,
say
we can have.
I'm sorry, oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Because I was gonna say real quick, because it just hit me like there, like when we have these certain type of conversations, they're intimate, right? So
Yeah.
I'm totally tapped into your energy right now, right? So
Okay.
there will be certain things that it just hit me, and I have to either write it down or say it. So when you say that you feel that you know, right?
Uh-huh.
On a human scale, sometimes we just feel like some shit, and sometimes we know some shit, right? So when you
Yeah,
say,
sometimes we're intuitive about things. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you have experienced it. I'll give you a good example of things that has happened to me. And I'm not saying that it makes me special, because
definitely,
I think we all have the intuitiveness in us. I guess it's a matter of really following your intuition. I was going to move to Mexico, not Mexico, Puerto Rico in 2019. Had my plane ticket, had put a deposit on a little apartment there. I was going to leave the next day, and something woke me up and says, "Do not go to Puerto Rico." So I called the airlines. I canceled my plane ticket, went back to sleep, woke up the next morning, and the Sahara Desert Storm hit Puerto Rico
mm,
that they are supposed to land. Did you hear about the Sahara Desert Storm?
not at all.
Uh,
No? Oh, you can Google it. It'll come up. But yeah, no, because Puerto Rico is like a bright, sunny, like blue skies, white clouds, nice temperature year round. And that day I was supposed to land, it was sand all through the island. Like
Mm,
wow.
you can see the skies, you can barely see the trees and the buildings. Like, yeah. So that's intuition to me.
and
That's
that's
intuition. Whatever it was that told me not to go, I would have been stuck there because there couldn't be no flights because the sand would get in the engine and the planes couldn't fly out.
yeah.
And it was hard for people to breathe. The sand contained the heat. So it would have been really bad for me.
And
So
that's what I was pretty much getting at. Because when you say, because sometimes we hear certain words and we don't, hang on to what is really being translated, right? So when you
right.
say that you feel that you know, right?
Yes.
Usually, when people say that they know something, we're talking about either mind or brain. And when we
Hmm.
have a gut feeling, right? So
Yeah.
when you feel that you know, it's just like you're aligned with both of those. So it will be a
Yeah.
undeniable truth, right? So I'm
And
gonna
My my truth.
Oh,
My truth.
yeah, that's it's
My
the
truth. It might resonate with you. It might resonate with Joshua, but for other people, it might not resonate. So I'm like, I feel that I know. And for those that resonate, then they can understand where I'm coming from. But for other people, be like, what in the hell is she talking about? You know?
And I think it comes back to that frequency and energy that you in as well. You know what I mean? Like how you were talking about the remembrance. You know what I mean? Like you might not necessarily remember something, and you come across something and it gives you a thought. You know what I mean, of remembrance. And I think that's where the whole, memory aspect comes back into play, because it's like now I'm remembering something that I already knew, because at the end of the day, everything is already within us. It's just the fact that we may not be able to tap into it based off of the frequency that we are at currently in in our day and time. But as we continue to learn and experience certain things, and we tap in to certain vibrations that are already within us, it starts to awaken, those memories and those different things as as a part of us.
Right.
Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. So I listen to a lot of people talking about, a whole bunch of different things. And I'm like, like I say, I speak my truth. And when people speak their truth, some things they talk about I can resonate with, and others are like, I don't know. It sounds too far fetched, but nothing's really far fetched. But everybody's journey is their reality. So like perhaps maybe that person's journey is exactly what they're speaking on. You don't all necessarily gonna be like when the body dies in the same dimension. Maybe we're all one in the sense in this voidness, but I don't know. It's just some really weird stuff.
I did have a question though. I can't remember what it was that you said, but the question I had was about when you do transcend, when you do leave the body, what would be what would be different, just from your own perspective, what would be different, or what do you think would be different than when you leave your body during meditation, or you leave your body for sleep to go dream?
Great question.
The question is, repeat that question again.
What would be the difference when you go what would be the difference when you dream and you leave your body versus dying and experiencing something like after death, pretty much?
Okay, so since I have not died, I don't know what the difference would be. As far as as far as dreaming, I feel that I know that as I live and exist right now and speak to you, maybe I'm dreaming somewhere else.
Right.
And I have a body over there, or whatever I am over on the other side. I'm there, and now I'm dreaming here, and then I'm gonna wake up from here, and then I'll be there. That's always a possibility. I mean,
Like that.
no, I mean nobody.
Have you ever came to a certain type of understanding or maybe thought process to where you let go of like your body in a sense, and like who you may be here in this reality, to get to get you a different type of perception outside of this reality?
I think about it a lot. I'm like, as I sit here, right? I'm sitting right here in my human body, but I know that I am much more than this body. I'm like, who is this person or this spirit or soul within myself that causes me to create a world by looking out into it and creating other versions of me to see, you know, who I am and who I want to resonate with, you know, as far as myself, or why are we here? I mean, like, what, like, if my body was to die right now, you know, in one of my perceptions, it's like, you know, and this is, I guess, based off of things that people say. Some people say we're going to reincarnate either way, but it's going to be at a higher level. Some people say that we go to another dimension in another world. And I say that when my body dies, I just want to be. I am as I am now, but I just want to be. I just want to be. I just want everybody just to be in harmony and in love. And you know, there's no pain, there's no suffering, and you know, and maybe there's no emotion. I don't know, but something where it's just, in the words of human being, where everything is just at peace. You know, there's no turmoil. Nobody have to cry over this or to hurt over that. That would be my perception. And sometimes I think about the word love. All the words are man-made loves, man-made words, because I think that spiritually and soulfully, there it's just frequencies. There's really no words.
Right.
We made words, but if I'm to use love, that's what I want for myself and for everybody. Just love and peace. But
So
I
that,
mean, huh?
I know I'm gonna wait till you finish.
Okay. So with that being said, now, like I tell you, I'm all over the place when I'm speaking. The people that are vaccinated, you know, I'm not getting vaccinated for my own reasons, but those that are being vaccinated for some of the things that I might think is happening, where the person's going to be transhuman, you know, they won't have any emotions. They'll just be like robots and slaves to the powers that be here that's causing this. So is that really a bad thing? Because that might be a good thing. Like, you don't have no feelings, you don't have no hurt, you don't have no pain, you have no emotion. You be a slave, but you don't know it. You're just doing what you do. Now, suppose the
They,
person that doesn't take the shot and they
Right.
die, and when they die, they go to a place that's even more worse than here.
Mm.
You know, I mean, you can look at it in so many different directions.
right.
But then again, like I said, nobody really knows anything about anything. You know, so yeah. And I apologize for being all over the place, but when thoughts come to me, I just speak it.
Oh yeah,
Good.
nah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm tuned in. I'm listening. You know,
So
yeah.
I
definitely.
did have a question though, or did you?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So when you say that you want to go to a place that would be, because kind of what you described is how religious people would describe what heaven would be, right? So
Well, yeah, that's what they would describe as heaven. But I think the difference in what I am saying and what they say in religion is they're saying that you should suffer on purpose in this world in order to experience heaven when you die.
Mm.
that word suffer is it get a little tricky because when you look up suffer just means to get through something. It doesn't necessarily mean to stay in.
Well, I'm speaking in it, you know, like just literally suffering. I'm not breaking it down into, you know, going through something. When you suffer, or if you don't suffer, we all gonna go through something. But in religion, when they say you have to suffer, it's like, you know, give away all your possessions, which I don't mind giving away anything to anybody.
Right.
Or, you know, certain things like in religion, like a couple of days ago, my sister said something was a sin. And I'm like, there is no sin. There is no sin. You were taught that if you do certain things, it's a sin. That is a way of controlling you. Everybody in this world has a right to do what they want. There is nobody in this world can tell somebody else what they should or should not do. But it's the condition of the mind that people live through. If you have sex outside of marriage, it's a sin. Why? I mean, everybody has a choice,
I
but
understand.
don't do it because somebody say it's a sin. It's not a sin. What is a sin is listening to the bull crap. That's a sin and a shame, as we would say back in the day. Sin and a shame. But anyway.
So I understand that, and I'm gonna go back to what I was just about to ask you. But I just want to say this to that real quick. So I understand that on a different level, because if we understood earlier, or we expressed earlier that we are just different versions of ourselves, right?
Right.
To find out who we truly are, we would have to see ourselves from a different point of view. So if we have other people, they can't really tell us what to do.
Right.
Per se, they can suggest certain things, and if we choose to abide by that, then we do. Now, and
Yeah.
I don't mean that on the scale, because we do have certain laws that we live by, as far as like, we can't do 90 miles an hour down the street, like, you know what I mean? So there are certain rules that we do not abide by, or sometimes we even break those rules. But there are certain things that are set in place for us to know and find out who we are, right? So when we think about what sin is, sin to me, honestly, sin is just to live, right? Sin is just to go through the experience, again, to suffer, to go through the experience so that we actually find out who we are, right? So when it comes back down to what you were saying about what your definition of where you wanted to go when your body leaves here and you want to go to a place of bliss, for that moment, if everything is on the same plane, even if it's bliss, I think to a certain extent it would still be kind of like what people call the void, because everything would be just one thing, and there would be I think for a particular amount of time, and I'm gonna say that as careful as possible, that we will be able to enjoy that moment of peace and moment of clarity and moment of serenity and all those great things. But because we are in a dualistic reality, and I believe that's in this one and things beyond, that we would ultimately come back down to where it's not just one thing. It would still have to maintain that balance on all levels, not just.
And I understand what you're saying. All I am saying is we are saying that because we are human, and we are a soul. And the human part of us is telling us this because it seems logical. However, I feel that I know the most logical thing to say is nobody really knows what's going to happen. We can speculate on what's going to happen. We don't know. We don't know. I know they say that every time somebody dies, somebody else is born. Right? And that person that's born might be the person that passed away, that had to come back to experience life again and try to make some kind of changes. But I mean, we can say what we want to say. We can believe what we want to believe. But I feel I know that nobody really knows anything, unless when the body dies and we go somewhere and we might be up in the void looking down and says, whew, I'm glad I'm through that, but I don't have to go back and go through that again. I don't know. The only thing that I know for sure is this body, nobody is leaving this world. Nobody. I'm talking about the human body. That part is going to die, and it's going to remain here in this realm, in this world.
So let me say one thing, and I'm gonna let Selfmade, because I know he want to ask you something, and I'm gonna just ask you something on a small scale. So have you ever been in your bed, like after like a long week of work or whatever, you just laying in your bed, you probably have the best food that you want. I don't know what you do to relax, but whatever you do to relax, you have the best of that, the most of that, you have everything of that. And then, you could be in that state for say a week.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, yeah. Then you stay in that state for say maybe you got like some extra vacation time. You stay in there for 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and you know the more time that goes by, the more you're just staying in there. Do you think that you would be able to stay in that particular mode forever, or would you want to?
Man, that I have a lot of scenarios about that. Like I'm good, but I feel I need to go somewhere else. Like right now, I came from Maryland. I'm in Louisiana. I decided to stay. I've been here 3 months. I'm
Right.
ready to go back. So, or one time I moved to Florida. The white sands, the blue waters, it was blissful. And after a week, it was boring. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to leave. So I understand what you're saying, but that's on a human scale, because we're human.
Right. And I
But
asked that.
But
I
okay.
asked that because you said that we don't know, right? So we
Right.
can go by what we are and what we go through right now. So
Yes.
as far as because I noticed you said you have a religious background. So it said that we would be the image of what God is, or the image and the likeness. So even though people can't see God, when you look around, you still see God, because they say that
Well,
God.
first off, all words are made up. Now we as humans use God as being the higher power. So whatever the sources that made us and the reason why we are here, that's why we're here. But we don't really know why we're here. We just know that something, for lack of a better word, brought us here. And the Bible says that nobody can see God and live. And I interpret that as the human body. As far as we know we are part of a higher power, and we won't know what it is until the body dies. And as the body is here, we can't see God and live. We can understand that there's a higher power, but we can't see God or the higher power while we live in this human body. So nobody can see God and live. The flesh has to die in order for you to see what the next level or whatever it is.
Got you. Let me say this real quick, something, because I was saying that to say that. So if like, just say for instance, like how crime scene investigators work, right? If they're not there to see anything that happened, they would have to go by all of the evidence that was left around in order to build that case, right? So
Well, I can take that right there and break it down to you.
okay, let me get this off.
Okay,
real
go ahead.
Because ultimately, what I'm getting at is that we may not think that we don't know what's going to happen, but everything that's around us. I don't know if you're familiar with the term "as above, so below," or "as within, so without."
Yeah.
And I live by that. So, with that being said, that's a mathematical equation that lets us know that even though we don't think that we know what's going on, and you said it earlier, there's a lot of things that we know, but we just don't know that we know until somebody either brings it up out of us, or until we get put into a situation that.
Okay, there are certain things that we all know. I guess just about everything, and certain things that I may say, or you may say, or someone else may say may resonate with us. They're like, I know this, but ultimately, we don't know what it is that we're trying to know. We just have bits and pieces of what we feel we know. That's all.
Nah, I was just gonna say too, something happened with your sound when you came back.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear you. It just sounds like like there's some sort of feedback or something coming from your voice.
I have my music in the background. Is that better?
It just seemed like you got put into a whole different type of space.
That's because I'm in my own world all the time. He just entered into my world. So you got to acclimate.
There you go.
There you go.
It just came back.
There you go.
Yeah.
But no, I was gonna say
peace to the chat too. But go ahead, Sel.
Yeah, definitely. Peace to the chat.
Excuse me, but I have to make a water run again.
Okay. Yeah, nah, peace to the chat, everybody that's in there, man. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. You know what I mean? We trying to go up one time for the one time. So if you could do that, salute to y'all. We definitely appreciate the feedback and all the comments and questions and all that, man. That's
Yeah, 'cause I was trying not to speak, but I'm reading the comments and I'm like, man, hopefully, like, you know,
yeah.
I know you I see you throwing them up too, so you know, there's certain things, and I definitely want to get the opportunity to have them ask direct questions to her, and then you know just let them
Yeah.
shit.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
no, I was just gonna like she for surely dropping them, man. You know what I mean? And it's definitely much appreciated to get it from an elder, you know what I mean? Because
yes.
a lot of the times the elders is gone, you know what I mean? Like they the ones that's following the religions and trying to teach that.
Hold on. Did you just call me an elder?
Well,
Really?
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like
I said it.
Ya
I said
me
it
da
earlier. I
fíjate,
said
ya bajo ganho basta ma kuya ma de confunde. I'm just joking. Carry on.
it's hey, that's beautiful. It's a
2 years older
beautiful.
than us, so it's good.
Yeah. But hey, nah, for real. At the end of the day, it really is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Because again, like it's a lot of people that I know that may be a little bit older than me, right? And they still on the religious tip, or they're trying to teach the youth and the younger generations certain things that has been passed down for generations and generations that you know continue the quote unquote generational curses. So
And
just
that's why I called you the Rosa Parks of some church, because I haven't got it like this from somebody that's 2 years older than me, right?
right. Exactly.
All right now.
But
Yeah.
what I did want to touch on though was I wanted to just point something out as far as everything coming from the same source, right? And I think this is kind of like what Woon was getting at with his questions and stuff. But knowing that everything comes from the same source, we can't necessarily separate the human experience from the spiritual experience, right?
Yeah,
So
you really can't. I think that's where you have to understand that you are a soul contained within this body, and you have to find a balance there, you know, a balance in order to live your life in heaven, so to speak. Like understanding that as a body here, you're going to go through your trials and tribulations. I don't care how blissful your vacation is. Eventually, there's going to be something that's going to cause something to happen to lower your frequency, so to speak. But when that happens, then you have to accept the fact that that happened and continue on in your life. But some people, and I hate to put it like that, it's not like that. It's like those people, and then there's me. It's an experience that we all go through, but if you're stuck in just the physical, then you suffer more because you're stuck.
well, I wanted to kind of touch on that aspect of it because it seems like even outside of the body, whether you have dreams, right? I mean, I don't know if you consider that inside the body or outside the body, but for me, I kind of consider that outside of the body because you're not, you know what I mean? You may not even have recollection of your body when you're in the dream. And same with
Right,
certain types of meditation and stuff, you know what I mean?
right.
But when you are outside of the body, you still experience a lot of the things that we experience here because at the end of the day, this is just a physical shell. But I think
Right.
the soul or the spirit is what is getting the different frequencies and vibrations to give you a feeling or a thought or certain, you know what I mean, attributes.
Right.
So like even
Yeah,
in
it's definitely the spirit. It's definitely not the body. The
right,
body in this realm feels the pain, the physical pain.
but now
The
see,
spirit.
when you say that,
Mhm.
the spirit or the soul doesn't feel that.
I I feel that I know it doesn't. I feel that the spirit and soul the spirit is what makes your body like percolate, so to speak. It's like the spirit is like today is going to be a great day, and then the spirit gets in the body, and it's all happy and content, and then life happens, and this entity, this other entity that talks to you, people that think they're crazy or schizophrenic, everybody have those that spirit in them that talks to them, talk negative. If you allow that part to come and bring your frequency or your spirit down, then the body suffers.
But now that entity that you talk about,
Uh-huh.
is that a part of you?
It's contained within this body.
Not
It's a
within
part
the
of you.
soul or
Yeah,
the
so
spirit?
it's a
Oh, okay.
everything inside of our body is a part of us as we are
Right.
now.
Because
You know, so yeah.
it's almost like how in the Bible, you know, it says God created good and evil, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that would have to be contained within our soul, regardless of the body. We experience it through the body on a physical plane, but I also think we would experience that same thing on a spiritual plane because there's no separation.
Well, in the spiritual plane, yes, in your spirit. And you know, the soul, as we call it, the soul, is I think the void. It's the void. It's who we are. And the soul lays dormant, waiting for a person to realize that they are a soul, that this experience here is temporary. And the spirit is there to help you either live in your heaven here on earth or your hell here on earth. The
Mm.
soul is more dormant. The soul lets you do what you want. It's free will. You do what you want. You choose your heaven or your hell. And when the body dies, the soul, like I said, I don't know where it's gonna go. But
I think I definitely like that analogy and how you put it.
Yeah.
Being that the soul goes to the void, because to me the void is the darkness, right? And darkness is everything. So it's not void of anything. You get
it's
what I'm
not void
saying?
of it.
Like,
But when I say void, I know the term void means that you know, it's like it's just cut off. It's just void.
right,
No,
right,
but void is just the vastness or
Nice.
the
I
eternity or however you want
yeah.
to put it. You know, so the soul just waits until it's ready to
To
go.
reincarnate into a different experience.
oh,
Yes,
that's
or
the
whatever
answer
is
right
going to
there.
happen
That's
after the
the
body dies. Whatever happens after the body dies.
answer.
That entity, the entity within you that is constantly telling you the negative things, trying to bring your spirit down, your spirit and your soul is going to go either way.
Now
Soul
I
gets
got
a
a
free
question.
will. Uh-huh.
That entity that asks, or that entity that presents itself that tries to bring the spirit or the soul down, do
Mm-hmm.
you think do you think that that's a good thing?
That's a good question. I feel that, you know, it's like Woon said earlier, if I'm on vacation, I'm having a good time, I'm having a good time, I'm having a good time. And after a while, I'm bored.
Mm,
I think that entity comes in and says, okay, you're bored. Let me give you something to lighten you up, put some fire under your butt. And the
right,
entity will come
right.
in and try to do something to cause some kind of confusion. Now you have to like wake up and says, all right, everything was going good, and all of a sudden this is happening. So then that entity, in a sense, is giving you a perspective to step back and then move forward.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll just be like, you know,
And the
all good things come to an end at a certain point, but then you have to start over. You just can't stay stuck in like something that bad happens to you. But then again, you can't stay stuck because things are always going well. That's
Right.
the duality of this world. So it can be a good thing. How do they call it? A blessing and a curse. You
I like
right,
that.
know.
I like that.
definitely. Definitely.
So, yeah, that's
I
my
like that. I
perspective.
like that. She said
Yeah,
you need to get uncomfortable to get
Yeah,
that push.
that's
I
yeah,
like that. That's a fact. You
yeah.
definitely have to get uncomfortable. You get comfortable, you stop moving in a sense.
And
You're I'm
and that's, I guess
there.
that's when you become comfortable and you're not doing things, you know, because it's like you're atrophy, you know. It's like you get to the point where you just can't move. It's like you're dead. You're like, you know. So there, I guess that entity in there, you know, is there to cause a little friction so that you can maybe elevate a little bit more. But if you get stuck in that friction and you can't move because you're stuck, that could be hell.
And I
You know?
think
exactly.
that's why the whole physical experience or just experiences in general are what they are because you
Facts.
have to have something to continue the infinite. You know, like infinity
Right.
don't stop. It can't be
That was
still.
a bar. That was a bar.
And then, you know, there's this one guy I listen to him every now and then. His name is Morg, Morque, and he he's more or less he called himself Imperium of something, and he said everything is mathematics, like you said, Woon.
Facts.
And he says, but there is physics and then there's metaphysics. In physics, they says this is how this works, and metaphysics says why does it work.
Mm.
So he
Mm,
said the question is when somebody says infinite, define infinite. You really can't. It's infinite is a word, it's a man-made word because we can't really explain what it is. We don't know. Just like I was saying earlier, but air, they said that we breathe in air. I say it's our breath of life, but really nobody know what it is. It's like a fish swimming in water. That's the water is their air, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, whew, there's so many things to think about. Speaking of water, water is soft and it's fluent. Get mad at the water when you're standing in it and try to hit it with your fist. That water's fighting back.
Right.
You know, it's like it's solid. It's solid. It's fluid, but it's solid. You know, and it's just a lot of things to really think about. Like even this fan that's spinning around, right? When it's not spinning around, you can throw egg through the holes. But when it's spinning around, it becomes solid. You know, I mean, there's so many things that you can think about that makes no sense. I think about an airplane flying in the air. I'm like, it's ridiculous. If I jump up, I'm coming down. An airplane is like 3 or 4 thousand tons and it's floating in the air. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? There's so many things that you know I don't think people like really think about and
yeah,
wonder about. You know,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
but nobody really knows anything but anything. Why this? Why that? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I know you said something earlier about that, and it's just like, me, I be in my mind a lot. Like I live in my mind more than I live here sometimes, and sometimes that can be bad. So I try to keep the balance. Um,
Hmm.
but when we start to question certain things, is also a part of our evolution, right? So
Hmm.
um, it's not more or less the questioning part, because the questioning part is just going to start the journey. Just going to take you on the journey. And I believe that's again what Selfmade said earlier. I think that's what started the existence itself, right? The creation itself. Um,
Right.
and when we have those certain questions, the main thing that our objective is going to be after that is to answer those questions. And
Right.
again,
Uh,
the only way that we would
okay.
have to answer those questions is by having the experience. And when we have the experience, it's like the experience was created for the experience us to have experience to have the conclusion, right? But it would
Mm.
be for the confirmation. So when we get that confirmation, even though, let me say this real quick, because just like what you said, nobody knows what infinity is, right? But one thing that we do understand about infinity is that it's forever, it's eternal, right? So if we could put that stamp on there, and then we have an overall ideology of how infinity works and the mathematical equation on how it works. It's like I could ask you what's the highest number, you wouldn't be able to tell me. At that point in time, numbers don't even exist. It goes back to the everything and nothing at the same time. So
So it would be zero if we wouldn't put it in human terms.
about to say
It would
that.
be zero.
Yeah.
Zero. Everything starts from zero.
Yeah. I'm
From
glad you
nothing.
reminded me. That's right. So infinity would be nothing
It would be
because
nothing.
we don't know what it is, but we know what it is. So it's everything and nothing at the same time. So again, just to find out what it is, we go through the experiences and we live life and we have the experiences. That's how we get our answers. Like when people take this Bible as the gospel truth over their lives and they haven't lived their lives yet, like how can you get baptized at a certain age when you don't even know who you are? I believe when you know who you are, that's when the natural baptism comes. That's when you rise from the dead. Like,
Actually, I believe that when a child is born, that child know who they are. They can't express it to you because they're not speaking words yet, but they know who they are. I think the disconnect comes that as the child grows up, we instill certain things in them, then they start to believe what people tell them who they are. So then they lose themselves. So now they got to find themselves again once they get older and start realizing, like, wait a minute, So kids, like a kid, before they are conditioned, the kids, it's a free spirit. They do what they want, they say what they want, and then we beat the crap out of them or punish them being real. Then we condition them to be something they're not. And then they grow up being something that they're not until they learn that they are not who people say they are. They're much bigger than that.
Right. Yeah. That's that Toby Kuta Kinte. He tried to beat that name into him. He was like, nah.
Exactly. That's it right there. That's it right there. And I think that's the biggest mistake of the human race is the conditioning that we get, and a lot of us stay stuck in that conditioning. We never get to know who we truly are. I mean, I feel I know who I am. I am love. I am love. I am love, and and everybody's love, but at different levels.
That's what it's about. They got to come into that understanding for themselves. You know what I mean? That's why we have these different energies. Everybody. You'd say there's the ultimate high frequency. You also have low frequency, and then every other frequency in between that. So, like we was talking about the experience.
Yeah.
Everybody is here for their own specific reasons. You know what I mean? It may be to experience a certain type of frequency over another one. You know what I mean? But that's the journey. That's the journey of the soul. We don't know how many times we've been here.
Right. We don't know. There was some people that say that everybody, which I feel that everybody I meet is me, and I have to discern whether or not I want to deal with that part of me or not. But there's some people that says that we're all God and we became bored, so we put ourselves into different people and different things to experience ourselves differently, so we wouldn't be bored, being blissful.
That makes a lot of sense. I could mess with that for sure. It doesn't. Me and Woon talked about this before. It was like if we was to just sit at the highest frequency and just sit there and know everything in existence, how is that? What is that doing for us? Like we would just be like, oh, we already know. Like, what's the point of even sitting at this point for for this whole time?
Yeah, and but the thing that I'm gonna get out of that is, as a human being, we could measure that and say, well, I would be bored to death, blah, 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 blah. But as a soul, who knows? Who really knows? After you drop this body, who really knows what the soul is doing?
Well, I
Who
think
knows?
it. I think that being in a soul's position at that point, right?
Mhm.
And you know everything, right? And then you can also see, for instance, I'm just making stuff up, but you can see like, man, I got flying cars in my soul. I got waves. I
I
got
mean,
oceans. I
but
got
but
all
but
these different things inside of me that I can't even experience, but I know, you know what I mean? I know that it's a part of me. So let me split myself up into certain things so that I can experience myself.
And see, that's what I was gonna
yeah,
say, because when
yeah.
we say that we don't know what the soul would do in that position, we are what the soul would do in that position. That's what we are. That's how we came about.
Well.
That's
Perhaps,
again. So,
perhaps,
huh?
perhaps. I say perhaps.
Yeah, if we
I
if we know
really
that,
feel.
if we know that we our
But
souls
okay,
this
okay.
human body, then we are what the soul produces. So we know what the soul thought of because we are a product of that. That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say earlier. So
Right.
everything that's around us in this reality is an example of what's going on outside of this reality. That's all it is. So when we look around, we get the answers to what we think that we don't know, or we feel that we don't know, but we actually know. We just got to tap into it. And when you look around, you're gonna find all the answers.
I don't know. We can say that we know the answers to things, but and we do know the answers to some things, but we really, well, I'm just going to say me. I feel that nobody knows anything about anything. We're speculating.
That's a fact.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about the soul, we're talking about the spirit, we're talking about the human body.
I got a
And
question.
a question was asked, what is the human body? I'm like, everything is individual. I have two eyes, I have a head, I have feet, I have hands, I have legs. And it's like the bees and the flowers, you know? It's all one, but yet it's separate. You know what I mean? If my foot was cut off, my body was still here. I would still function. My hand was cut off. If I was blind, you know, these different parts of us are separate, but yet it's one.
Mm.
So it's like our souls, okay, we say we have a soul. We say we have a spirit. That's what we say. But do we really know?
Now, I think when you say nobody has the answers,
Mm-hmm.
my question would be: do you believe that there is a such thing as anything being wrong?
No, I don't.
So then,
Now,
by
as a
that,
human being, we're going to say, oh, you wrong for that. Oh, you wrong for that. But it's not wrong.
so
I feel that everything that happens in that moment, it's not wrong. It was meant to happen. But
right.
as human beings, we judge it because we don't agree with it. But it's not wrong. That's a part of life's journey, whatever it is. It's not wrong. Everything is right, even though we feel it's wrong.
So
Everything.
by that alone, that
Mhm.
makes everything the answer.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That it makes sense. But what I'm saying about nobody really knows anything about anything is we don't know what's going to happen in the next moment. We don't know. I could say, oh, I'm getting ready to light me a cigarette, and all of a sudden I have a heart attack and I die. Or I'm just gonna walk across the street and get this cigarette, and I'm getting ready to walk across the street and a car hits me. Nobody really knows anything. Basically, when you ever heard of the now, living in the
Uh,
now?
right. Yeah,
This is
that's
a
what I was about to touch
really,
on.
I truly believe that everything exists as it is right at this moment. We can recollect about the past, we can bring it up in our minds, but we cannot change the past. What has happened. We don't know what the future holds. We can say, oh, next year I'm going on vacation. That's next year. But right now, at this moment, it's all we have. So,
I like that.
So if I like a split second, you can be gone.
I think that part, what you just said,
Uh-huh.
comes like I would, instead of saying that we don't know, for me
Mm-hmm.
at least, I would say that we don't remember. But I would say that we do know ultimately because everything is within us. So it's just that you know how they say right before people die, they whole life flash in front of them.
Yes, that's what they say. And I have to say this. That's what they say. First off, who in the hell are they?
But
And second off, how do they know?
now the only reason why I was saying that is
Uh-huh.
because it's almost like all of your remembrance comes at that moment. But um
Let me
it
say something. Oh,
no,
can I
go
say
ahead,
something real quick?
go ahead.
It's just like, okay, say for instance, right? Um, in that because when they say that, they're not saying that they died and then everything started hitting them. They're saying that they came to a near death experience, so you would have a heightened sense. Your senses will be heightened. That's just similar to, you don't know how fast you can run unless a dog is chasing behind you. Like, you know what I mean? So you don't know, but you
Or
know
how slow you run.
away
Or
from this
how slow
dog.
you
Like,
run.
you know what I mean? So in that essence, you don't know, but it's still within you to, in certain experiences is going to pull that up out of you. But go ahead, Sel.
No. Okay. So when you say your whole life, okay, that's your life. You can remember your life. Yes, you might remember you was born, when you got married, this, that, and the other. But when I say nobody really knows anything about anything, I'm talking in the sense of what it's all about, what it's truly all about. We can have our understanding of things, and we can resonate with other people that think about the same things, or believe they know, about things. But ultimately, it's all speculation. Now, within us, maybe we know,
Hmm.
but we don't know that we know. And like this conversation we're having right now, we're speaking on things that we feel we know, and some of the things we resonate on.
Your
But it's
sound went back out again.
oh shoot, really?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know what it did. It just kind of just instantly went into a whole nother mode.
I went to like Walkman mode.
Walkman. Can you hear me now? So like I just feel that I know that nobody really knows anything about anything. We speculate, we come to conclusions, and we just, go based on what we feel we know. It's
So,
just like a religious person that really believe that Jesus is going to come out of the sky and save them. Save them from what? I don't know, and save them. But they truly believe that, and I don't believe that. But who am I to tell this person what they believe? That's what they believe.
so would
But
you
in
want
my, but in
to?
my mind, I know that ain't true. But it might be a truth for them. It might be true. I don't know.
Would you
You know
would
what
you
I'm
want to
saying?
know? Would you want to know what you feel that you don't know?
And would I want to know what I feel I don't know?
Right.
I think that I would like to know. I don't think as a human being, if I truly knew, then, as a human being, then the body would die because nobody has seen God and lived, you know?
And my follow up question to that would be, why do you think that it's a purpose that to what you say that we don't know, that we don't know? Do you think that there's a logic or a reason or a purpose behind that?
Well, Logically, I couldn't really explain that, because if I say logically, then I'm thinking of it as a human being. Then of course, as a human being, like I'm like, there has to be a logical explanation as a human being.
Mhm.
But as a soul and spirit, I'd be like, basically it is what it is. Go through your trials and tribulations, or live your life, and at the end, you return or not return to wherever the source is. And we may do this dance again, or we may not.
Gotcha.
So, logically, I think we all would like to know why we're here. Logically, you know what I mean?
I think it's like you said, it's like something like a dance because
Hmm.
you you don't know until you remember, and so it's almost like you could say, "Oh, you don't know you're supposed to, you don't know you're supposed to do something, right?" But you only figure that out once you go through it. So in essence, everything or all the questions that you have, or all the things that may present themselves to you, when they present themselves to you, would be the answer, because you have to go through that to experience it and get your confirmation from whatever that is. And that's where I think the dance is, as far as you do know, because even like how you were saying, with the words, like that was the point I wanted to touch on, like how you said, um, we're just using English words, and and Woon, you kind of touched on that too, as far as like the words are describing a certain type of phenomenon. And so once you get an understanding of the energy, forget the word. Once you get an understanding of the energy, you then know how to utilize this energy for whatever purpose you want to use it for. And I think that's how that evolution continues to happen, because we get better understandings of these phenomena that at one point, yeah, you could say we never knew, you know what I mean? But ultimately, I think that's how uh you know they have these certain types of dimensions where, if you've ever meditated or had certain dreams and went into certain realms, there the understanding there is a little bit at a higher frequency than it is on this human scale. You know what
Right.
I mean? And it will continue to elevate based off of the understanding that they get from that energy in that specific place.
Yeah, I want to add when you say dance, right? Because I was literally thinking about this earlier. You just now reminded me of something that I was just thinking on. So when we're talking about the dance, right, and we're talking about the dance is what keeps this eternity going, right? You got the bar earlier. I was like, "Man, that was a bar." So that's what you said, right? So I was thinking about that earlier, like you know what I mean. So when we're talking about dancing and we're talking about two different things, ultimately, you know how people say, "Well, we can dance this dance, we could go in this circle," right? So when you go back and forth so much, and you're going to start to go in the circle, and the more that that circle goes, the more that you expand, the more that you expand, the more that you expand, and that's what if you deal with if you understand the Fibonacci sequence or certain different things that have that what is that the golden ratio, like all of these different things start off as one thing and then it just vibrates outwardly and it spirals out, like you know what I mean. So that
Hmm.
alone, that those two different energies or that duality is always push pull, and when you get that push pull, that's when it starts to go into a circle. So it's always going to be that. And just like you now said, so when it comes down to that type of energy, the more that you come into that understanding, boom, and then it's going to turn you around again. And you're going to stay at that point in time, and you're going to turn again. So you're going to keep on turning and turning and turning, just going to keep on going. And I think that every turning point, so to speak, will give you an answer. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like
Or an answer to your turning point.
Jesus Powell would say, there's no right or wrong,
Right.
because it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing that you can really do about life. I mean, we can speculate on, oh, I'm going to do this or the other, but life is going to be life. It's going to give you whatever it has for you, no matter what you think you are going to do about it. Life is going to give you what it gives you. Now, when you're talking about the golden ratio and the Fibonacci thing, the thing that looks like the snail, or the spiraling, what you have to say about the what they call them, the astrophysics that says that the world is expanding? Like, what the hell are they talking about? That's a different
Uh,
subject.
yeah, no. That's a new subject to me, but if we're going to say that the world is expanding, right? I don't know if you mean the world as in like the things that make up the world, or you're talking about the Earth, right? Because if so, I'm
They're
I'm gonna ask that.
talking about the universe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In that sense, if we're talking about that it's ever expanding, um, we already know that that this what we call the universe is would be an eternal thing. So it would always be ever expanding, and we're a part of that expansion. So the energy that we put out is going to help expand it. Anything that's in existence is going to help, do what it do, and that's what we're here for, to help that again to dance, like, you know what I mean. So when it comes down to that, yeah, I don't think that it's going to stay stagnant, like, you know what I mean. But again, it would ultimately have to come down from being one thing, and then it's going to evolve into the next, and then we may have a new Earth, just like how we have a new understanding of what human beings are, and everything progresses and everything evolves. So yeah, of course, like, everything is not meant to stay to one thing. Now it may restart again after we get to a certain plateau, but as for right now, we're just dancing and dancing. We're growing and evolving, and that's on from a macro scale to a micro scale, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? As above, so below.
Hey, we got somebody in here, all in. If I think I'm saying the name right.
Yeah, I can't.
Is that? Oh, okay. I can't hear him. He has no sound coming in.
Yeah, I see. He got his headphones plugged in or something like that.
I can't hear nothing.
Yeah.
It's not even showing a mic on your end, man.
He might have to activate his mic.
Oh, if he's on the phone.
The same thing that I was happening earlier. Yeah, if you're on the phone, then it might not allow you to be on the phone and be on this the stream at the same time.
Actually, I'm on my phone right
as
now.
far as mic-wise.
I'm on my phone. I've been on it the whole time.
Oh yeah, you might be.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something about having to, activate your mic.
Unplug your mic.
So I did want to salute the people that's in the chat again. They dropping stuff in there. Yeah, they're definitely dropping stuff in there. Shout out to my boy Tyrone in the building too. We had a great build. Well, we had a couple builds a few times, so he definitely got to come in too.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to T. In there. Shout out Trick. I see you in there.
Peace. What's going on?
That was in there earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I really, it's really good to actually be able to speak with people who, more or less are on a higher frequency or have an open mind. Because speaking like this to, for a better word, normal people, they just think you're crazy. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But I mean, like, people gotta look beyond the black and white, outside of the gray area. There's more to this life than going to sleep, going to work, and continuously doing the same things. The rat race, as they call it. There's so much other stuff that's going on beyond this realm. If your mind is open to it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Nah, it's dope because again, and I know Selfmade said it earlier, but I agree. I haven't spoke to nobody that's 2 years older than me in this same type of thing. So again, like I've been.
Are you calling me old again?
No, I said 2 years. It's just 2 years. But no, I've been deemed like a cult leader and shit. Like, I've been called everything that you can think of possible that, like, that's abnormal, right? But I like being abnormal because I don't like to be normal. Like, you know what I mean? So, and I know my level of thinking And it's not that people don't get it. Let me say that because I know a lot of people understand more than what they say, right? They just don't want to be the person that says it because as soon as you say it, then now you're outside of that box. You're coming. You outside of safety, and people is gonna come get you, just like witches back in the day. Imagine you being a witch back in the day, and you know that they out there killing and hunting witches. You're gonna be like, well, shit, I ain't coming out. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're gonna sit still. So we do this podcast, and that's why it's called Free Your Mind, and it's more of a free of your spirit. We're I don't want to say we are liberating people, but we wanted to build a platform to allow people to liberate their spirits or liberate their minds, free your mind, like, you know what I mean? So, and then
Like Bob Marley, free your mind.
So we appreciate you as much as you appreciate us. It's a dope build again. Like, I love it. Like, I love it. I stay in this energy.
Yeah, and appreciate you for coming on. You know what I mean? Like, we definitely plan on having these types of builds a lot more often. You know what I mean? There's so many topics to touch. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like it always seems to come back down to this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is that everything and nothing. The I am. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
No matter what. And that's why when you were saying, like, you know, you jump in topics, but at the end of the day, it's all one. It's all connected.
Yes, it all connects.
Right.
Because, you know, it's just so much, you know, that I feel I know. And, you know, so when I say it, and we don't always have to agree on the same things, you know, different perspectives. But for the most part, we all know that everything comes from nothing. The void is there. There's entities within us, our spirit and our souls. It all works in unison, but we need to find out who we are outside of this human body in order to elevate to the next level in this world as we journey. You know?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. So, anybody have any questions in the chat?
Yeah, I was gonna say, because she's going strong. We almost 2 hours in. She's going strong.
Yeah.
So if the chat, we're gonna allow y'all to not allow. I hate to say shit like that, but if you guys in the chat, I hate that shit. Like, if you guys in the chat want to tap in and ask her some questions. I don't know if we can type them in. If we can scroll up and then just shoot them out, or if they want to shoot them brand new, or where we at?
I don't know if they'll probably start popping up.
They're just wondering.
I wanted to holler at Allin. I think I'm saying the name right. If I'm not, my bad, bro. You know what I mean? But I definitely wanted to holler. Yeah. You know,
that sound like some French Creole. It's Swahili.
Yeah.
Hey, but is your mic on? Are you good?
If there's a way you could, maybe come back.
Gonna go in.
Come back in somehow.
Yeah. No, that's my man, right? He's 32. Okay. He's 32. I'm 64. That's my man. He's just being nosy.
2 years older than me. See, I had that feeling.
It's just a number. You know.
Hey, it is what it is. But
But it comes with wisdom, though. You know what I mean? So we see the wisdom. That's why I'm like, it's really dope to get that, that perspective. I see a mic now. He might be.
Yo.
There he is. All right.
What's up, man?
What's good?
Yeah. You were saying something about my name, Allin?
Allin. Okay.
Yeah, Allin. Okay. Yeah. And what's the pronunciation on the last name? Moye? What is that?
I love French.
Oh, see, I was on point then. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
What's good?
Ain't that just hearing y'all talk some deep stuff, at the end of the day, It's all about just knowing who you are. You know what I'm saying? Can't believe no other words, no other voices, because everybody got their own opinions and their own judgment. As long as you know who you are, can't nobody tell you nothing. You know what I mean? It's all about knowing who you really are.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's definitely a fact, man. That's what it's all about, man.
So with
So,
that,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question to that, Chief. So when it comes down to that, when people try to tell you who you are, do you take that angle of light into consideration, or do you automatically brush it off? Like how does that work with you?
I go about it by capitalizing by just doing better. You know what I mean? That's like someone saying, "Hey, like nigga, you stupid. If you feed on that, you're gonna have a hard time shitting that out." You know what I'm saying? Because it's negative energy. But you can still use that energy and be like, "Well, I know I'm smart, so why not capitalize and just go harder?" So when that person try to talk about something about you, they really can't say shit. You know what I'm saying?
So we didn't
It's
have
just
any cursing in here prior to this. No cursing.
sorry
Thank you.
for the explicit
it's all
language.
good. It's all good.
Oh, it's all good? Okay.
Yeah,
Carry
you
on.
say what you know.
But yeah, it's just knowing who you are. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people see the good in people, and they'll try to tell you something bad about yourself just so you don't get far. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked that, because I think sometimes it could go both ways. Because I think that sometimes people would see something in you
Right.
that you probably haven't noticed within yourself, so they would put those challenges on you. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly.
And then, so when it comes down to, and I took a theorist arts class, so I understand constructive criticism, right?
Right.
So when it comes down to constructive criticism, sometimes people don't know how to be constructive with their criticism, right? You gotta
Right.
be some people like, nigga, you suck, nigga, you whack, or just like you said, like, nigga, you dumb. Because they don't know how to. They want to tell you what they feel or that they see in you, but they don't know how to construct it in a way to bring it to. They just a straight shooter, like, you know what I mean. So, and I've had that a lot to where people be like, nigga, like, well, what are you saying? Like, nigga, that don't make sense. And I'll be like, well, allow me to explain myself, like, you know what I mean. So,
Right.
I definitely don't just brush things off. And there's a lot of times that we do need certain things when people tell us, hey, well, nigga, you kind of slacking off, my nigga. And then you can be, ignorant to what they're saying, or you can ignore them. And then, like, you may not understand what they're saying, but then later on that night, like, you know what I mean? You may just be chilling, and then your subconscious be like, damn, well, what did that nigga say that for? Like, you know what I mean? And then it's just like, okay, that's why he said that. Watch this. Just like you said. And at that point, it's going to be like, okay.
It was for a reason.
I think there's a difference between constructive criticism and even if a person is just point blank and just tell you something. But if they're telling you something straight to the point constructively to make you think about the decisions you're making or something that's going to better you, that's constructive criticism. But when somebody criticizes you because they see something in you that it has a good potential, but they criticize you to make you feel bad about yourself so you don't, pursue what it is that you want to say, that's something different.
Yeah.
I would say that I don't. Well, depending on where you're at, let me say that, because there would be people who would try to. I don't like sometimes people's intent aren't to make you feel bad. Sometimes our perception of what they're saying makes you feel bad. So it's called how you perceive it.
And that's because a person who truly knows themselves will take what that person is saying and they can discern whether or not the person is telling them that or telling you that because they are concerned or that person is really just trying to put you down to make you feel bad about yourself. That's about knowing yourself. That's the difference. Because if you're still stuck with that entity telling you things about yourself, as soon as somebody says something bad, then that entity enhances it. Now you feel bad about yourself. And now you're not going to try to pursue what you're trying to do because you have an entity telling you that, then you have another part of yourself that's telling you that. So it's like you have to know who you are and just like discern the difference.
Yeah, I think too, once you get to that point, you can start to tell the difference when people are projecting their own energy onto you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When in the form of criticism or trying to tell you about yourself, you know what I mean? A lot of the times it seems like it always comes from a place where it's something that they haven't dealt with in their life and they want to project that onto you, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, at the same time. But I do also on the flip end, you know, you like once you do have that understanding of self, if they do project themselves and you like, wait, that ain't me. Like, I don't know what you talking about.
Exactly.
I ain't coming from that sense. You know what I'm saying? So then you
Exactly.
automatically know, like, oh, you over here projecting your energy onto me. That's something that you got to deal with.
Yeah. I think that's what they call shadow work. You got to work on fixing that part of you that you try to project on others when it's really you. You know.
So
Right.
on the receiving
Okay.
end, what would be some examples on how to deal with that? Do we ask them like, well, what you got going on? Why you saying that?
Well, I think the individual person, I mean, the person that they're projecting it on could tell that person, like, man, you must be talking about yourself because that ain't me, you know, or
Right.
perhaps the person really just needs to like sit down and be still and let all of those negative thoughts run out of their system because they're there. You just got to learn how to put them behind you and don't let it control you or contain you.
Right.
And then that way you don't meet the next person and judge them because you're lacking in something. So you're going to judge that person because of whatever. You know, it's just a part of just knowing who you are and just keeping it moving.
Definitely.
Right. Just being real with yourself. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So yeah. So I saw that your podcast yesterday lasted 6 hours. My goodness. That's talking about psychedelics and other things.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. I mean,
We was on that we was on that brother panic time, you know what I mean? We
love the panic. Now I've listened to some of the things he said, but I never really got into him that much. But I do know of him. So what is it about Brother Panic that y'all like?
He's dope. Brother Panic, and my homegirl that was in the chat earlier, China, she put me up on that Brother Panic.
Mhm.
And one thing that I liked about him is that he does not try to package himself as something that he's not. Like, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Just like when I said earlier, like, I got a bottle of, Bel Air Rose, and I'm gonna crack that shit as we're talking, and we're gonna have some fun. There we go. And that's the type of, because there's certain people who want to be a part of the conscious community or want to deem themselves woke, and they feel like they got to wear like a turban on their head or
right.
with incense in the background and do all this other crazy shit, when really, and excuse my language, but this is me being me. So when it comes down to freeing your mind or being who you are, why put on a jacket that's not you? I'm gonna be me through and through. I've already came to the conclusion of who I am on a macro scale. So all that other facade shit, I'm not even gonna give it to nobody. So when I listen to Panic, that's exactly what Panic was doing. He was giving it to you raw.
And
I
I've
don't
seen
agree
him
with
before. He
everything.
be sitting down crunching a candy and talking on the videos. I mean, like be yourself, like I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, so I'm getting ready to go on, and perhaps maybe I felt that maybe y'all think I was gonna have my hair all done and some makeup and all this stuff. But I am who I am, and if you can't accept me, not saying you per se, but just in general, if you can't accept me for who I am, I'm not putting on a facade. I am who I am, you
facts.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just real. We're all real, but
And
Yeah,
I think that's what it really comes down to is the fact that the real recognize the real. You know what I mean?
right.
You
yeah,
can
Every
tell when
day.
yeah.
somebody being fake, or you know what I mean. I think that's why we gravitate towards Panic and Jesus. You know what I mean? She keep it
Oh,
real.
Jesus, Jesus can curse her butt off when she talks. My goodness.
Hey, but
But
that's what.
she's cool. I love Jesus. I
Jesus
don't I
as
don't
fuck.
understand everything she be talking about, you know, but I feel
Right.
like some of the majority of the things she says is cool. But
Yeah,
like I was
Yeah.
saying earlier, everybody have their own journey
and the things that they speak of is real to them. It doesn't necessarily resonate with me.
Right,
You
right.
know, I don't know. There might be dragons out there. Definitely got some spaceships in the clouds because I see them all the time, and faces and all this stuff in the sky. You know,
Hmm.
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
That's that
But
part of coming, the more phenomenon we can recognize and get an understanding about, the more we will continue to elevate to get better
right,
understandings of, more things.
Right.
right.
Remember,
So
this is an eternal experience. So anything that you could think of, for sure, it's out there. Like that's
yeah.
how we can think of it because it's already exists.
It's exist within
It don't
our
exist.
our minds. Like when you close your eyes, it's darkness. Unless you think in your mind of something and then they're projected while your eyes are closed. But for the most part, there's nothing outside that is not from within.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
You know, so whatever my sister, who is not awoke at all, she believes in Jesus. She called me one day and she says, I was riding down the street with my grandkids and I looked in the sky and I saw a boat filled with people. I'm like, you really did see that. You're not
Mm.
crazy. You really did see that. You
Hey,
know, there's all kinds of stuff that's going on around us, but you know, hey, it is what it is.
that's a fact. So,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
really.
where you at, Mr. Moye? Where you at with the Do you stand on like a religious belief, or where you at in terms of you know what I mean?
Um, I believe that there's a God that does exist.
Okay.
Certain people got different religions. Certain people call him different names. Certain people talk to this God differently. You know what I mean? But my perspective is, I think God do exist. You know what I mean? Because the stuff that I've endured, stuff that I've been through, I know there's a God out there because God saves everybody. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if you show love, if you show respect, if you showing all this positive stuff, then that's God light. So, you got people on the spiritual journey trying to find out God or some God within them, but at some point in their life, they've been caring, they've been loving, they've been respectful. So they have that God in them. You know what I'm saying? So,
Fact.
yeah, it's like you
Would
already have a God in you. So you don't need a reminder to show you that you are a God. You was born a God. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to tap in by yourself. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
that's a fact.
Yeah. Sometimes you
mm-hmm.
gotta close your eyes and you gotta really vision yourself doing good. You gotta tell yourself good things. That's when that God in you, like you get like a big ass like a spirit rush or some shit like that, and it make your spirit feel different. Make your heart beat different, then your mind think different, and you like, damn, like why am I doing all this good stuff now that I've dreamed of or I've seen or I've had daydreams about. You know what I'm saying? But it might seem weird or out of pocket to anybody else, but with your state of mind is perfect, and the way that you operating with it, it's just like water. It's just like riding smooth. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I
Yeah.
feel that.
When you say the internal, and when you speak to the God in yourself, right?
Right.
Um, that would be the affirmations, right?
The good
Um,
affirmations, yes.
definitely.
Because you
Because
have, my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off, but let me say this.
do your thing.
You have like you have good voices, you have bad voices. So like a good affirmation will be telling you, you know, you're doing good with life. You've been through a lot in life, but you've overcame a lot. So keep on pressing forward because you're doing good. You might be thinking bad about yourself one day, and one of your homies might call you and be like, "Yeah, bro, I ain't chop it up with you in a while, man, but keep on doing your thing." You might have had a 30-minute fucked up, like thought in your head of you doing bad or stuff that you used to do, and you don't know why you doing so good, but it was something about your friend calling you at that time, and just the way things were that just changed your whole you know perspective on things, on how to do good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get to. So, because I had asked, because we build all the time, just like she was saying, we did like a 6-hour podcast, but we have these type of builds on a regular, so we deal with like a lot of different conversations. So there was this one topic that I had brought up, and it was dealing with information, affirmation, and confirmation, right?
Right.
And which one would be, I don't want to say more prominent, but like which one would more resonate with you in terms of what you feel like it would be. And from what you just now said, from your homeboy calling you and telling you certain things, because you already told yourself, so that would be the affirmation. Then your homeboy gave you some information, and the information that he gave you would be the confirmation. And then now you can move accordingly because you went through those 3 different processes. And then, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Right. It all goes together, right? And sometimes people need to hear that. It's always good to hear yourself tell yourself that you're doing good, you're a good person, but it's also good for someone to look you dead in your eye and genuinely in their voice and in their heart that they telling you something. And it's like, damn, I need to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's real spit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
and I believe.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, my bad. Go ahead. You good? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, because this is a shameless plug, because I'm actually in a process of writing a book right now called the I am. I'm sorry, the MI versus the I am, right? And the underlying theme to that is the road to, I didn't use the word road, but I used I forgot how I said it, but basically the road to confirmation, right? So basically saying one point of either a misunderstanding or not understanding, and then going into the understanding, right? So then that's what it is. I'm sorry, the spiritual journey to confirmation, right? So that's so all of the information that we gain in this journey, and then we say the affirmations, as we go along on the journey, and then everything around us starts to become the confirmation. We get close to finishing the journey, right?
Right.
Because then, once we find out who we are, everything starts to show us who we are. Just like you said, like your homie, like, hey, nigga, you on your shit right now. And he's like, okay, my nigga, like, yeah. So it's that confirmation.
I mean, it's good to have confirmation, but for the most part, you don't need confirmation from anyone when you know who you are. I mean, but it's good to hear as a human being, but when you know who you are, you don't need that confirmation. Everything that you do and you know who you are is confirmation enough. And I like that title, Am I or I Am? And it's like the positive and the negative. And you're like, I would be saying something like, am I spiritual? Am I love? It's like it's questioning yourself, right? Until you get to the point where you says, I am, and you know that you are.
Exactly.
Right, and that's what I mean. So that's the confirmation that I'm talking about right there.
I am, yes.
And you can't, to me, you can't confirm that within yourself. You would have to confirm that outside of yourself. And I don't mean that people would necessarily have to tell you that you are who you are, but you start to see it. You start to see everything.
You know it outside of yourself, like I am, and because I am, I know that I am, and you're confident. And you don't need validation from someone else. They might think you're arrogant, but you're not arrogant. You're just being yourself. You're being your truth. You are, I am. But if you're like, am I? Now you need confirmation from somebody else.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna say this: I am arrogant with my shit. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, once you're there, you gotta be. You know what I mean? You in there.
But it's not an arrogance. It's a truth. It's your truth.
What I'm saying. That's what I mean.
But other people will perceive it as arrogant.
Yeah.
But that's their perception.
Misunderstood.
That's
their
because they still in
perception.
the am I, perspective.
Yes,
They haven't came into that I am understanding to know what it even, truly entails.
right.
So I had a
Yeah.
hashtag because I used to hashtag I am all the time, and I think that people misunderstood what that was. Right? Even when you read the words I am, it'll give it to you. Like you know what I mean. So I
Yes.
I switched my hashtag to just solely saying I am to we are the I am. Because again, like we said earlier, you would be a reflection of who I am, but just from a different angle or perspective of life, right?
Right.
So it's just like we all are the same thing. So even if you don't resonate with what I'm saying, you're still a part of the equation. You're still a part of the mathematics,
Right.
and we all moving
Right.
together. So we
Yeah.
are the I am. We
Yeah.
are the thing. That's all that
But
is.
Mhm.
I had a hashtag. I was like, I am, you are, we are.
Right.
And
Mhm.
so now my hashtag is I am love. And when the person read it, then they're saying it to themselves. I am
Love.
love. And
Right.
Yep.
hopefully that will, plant a seed and they will understand that we're all love. We all have that in us, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's real.
Man, these is the realest,
And
the
I heard what
realest
you were
type
saying
of
about writing a book.
conversations. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
digging it right now. I'm loving this shit. Loving it.
And it's like
Yeah.
I wrote me a book called The Door to
Hey,
My Mind.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I wrote a book called The Door to My Mind. It's not published or nothing
Mm.
yet. I'm still working on all that, but I can give you a preview of it. It's basically like it's like really digging deep into yourself. Like really think about things that have made you mad in the past. Anybody can grow off things good, right? But nobody wants to endure nightmares or things that they used to endure or things that they just brushed off thinking that just faded away like the wind blowing, but it ain't really go nowhere. It's just dead like a statue. So
Yeah.
in the
Mhm.
door, so it's like in the door to my mind, it's like really open up that door in your brain. Think about what really triggers you as a person, like what really makes you happy as a person. Like certain people are so stressed they can't even turn left or right because they body function is so fucked up. They can't even look themselves in the mirror and like be happy because they can only see fuckery. They
Mhm.
can only see pain. They can only see
Right.
like hurt.
Yeah.
So in this book, it's like really about like digging deep into yourself, like removing all things that ever fucked you up. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like bad roots because you got to pull roots, but pulling roots hurt. But with that comes growth.
That's a fact.
That was a bar. That was a bar.
Mhm.
Then when
Hey,
you grow, you blossom.
sidebar real
You
quick,
know what I'm
Selfmade.
saying?
We're
Like a
gonna have a
plant.
segment, and I texted to myself when people say real shit, we gonna have a segment called "That Was a Bar."
Yeah,
So when
yeah, yeah. You need to
that
have
was
that. Just pull it up on a caption. That was a bar.
that was a bar.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, for
But yeah,
real, man.
hey, whenever
Yeah, you gotta drop that, man.
whenever you drop that,
Yeah,
come back
man. I
on.
got to, man.
We gonna discuss that for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's one of them ones right there, man.
Yeah,
Like that. See, and this is the that type of stuff that I think people need to hear. You know what
definitely.
I mean? It's not talked about enough. You know what I mean? Like you were saying before, it's like we get deemed, being called crazy and he just out there and all of that type of stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like we have to get to that point where it's at least to the point where we can have the conversation. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because it seems like at this point, you start talking, you start saying so many different types of words, and they automatically throw the wall up or they cut you off to the point where they don't even want to hear you. They're not trying to hear you out, nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
So yeah, man, like this, I'm glad that we had this build and we got everybody in the chat chiming in and you know what I mean. We could actually put this shit out there in the ethers on the web, you know what I mean, the whole nine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just again, it's grand for some people, this is a breath of fresh air. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like for real. So, because it's just like, again, there's so many different people that don't have a platform, to be in to just express themselves like that. And one of the things that we came here to do is express ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? Just to get it out. Like, you know what I mean? And as soon as you get it out, then you can move on. You know what I mean? So, and again, I like to say that, the EX prefix is just means to get it out. Like, you know what I mean? So after you get that out, then the exit, then you go to the exit, then you go to the next and EX it. So, all this shit is connected. Y'all know my wordsmith and shit, but when it comes down to just this type of shit, I live in it, I stay in it. On live, off the live, this is who we are. Like, you know what I mean? Truly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I can dig it.
I can dig it. You can dig it. We can dig it.
Hey,
Right.
hey, don't.
That's what we gotta incorporate, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds in this thing.
Yeah. So.
But yeah,
Yeah.
did you want to spill some more? You good? What you want to drop anything as far as how the people could contact you if they have any questions that they may not want to ask in the chat but want to ask you directly?
Well, I mean, they can always hit me up on my Facebook page, The Alchemistress Marvel. That's
Hey, I'm sorry, that's a bar. You said the Alchemistress?
Yes.
That's lit.
Alchemistress.
That's lit.
That just came up to me one day. Like, okay, so I just started using it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like the topic because, it resonates with me. And I guess I could have started a YouTube channel at one time and did whatever and put my Cash App down, send me money. But it's not even about money. It's just about understanding who you are, just letting people know that this world is not just about just getting up and stacking up money. Just go to work, stack up money. You can't take it with you. So your life, you're supposed to enjoy life. Go through the trials and tribulations. Just go through your life until the body is no more.
Right. And I like to say that energy is the highest form of currency, right?
Right.
So when we have these type of builds, I tell people that we're talking money and we're spreading around money.
Yeah.
So this is the money. Like, you know what I mean? This is it. The energy that we're spreading around right now is money. So you get, like, how people say, hey, that person's good money with me. Like, how they be talking on the East Coast and shit. So, like, I would say that you're good money because I know if I come to you for some information, you're going to give me some good information, some good love, right? That's another form of money, a frequency. Like, you know what I mean? So that's money. You know what I mean? So that's what we do. We're spreading
the highest.
Right.
The highest form of money.
Yes, it is.
That's what we're doing. We're actually talking money right now.
Right. So this has been 2 hours and 23 minutes.
You've been hanging. She's been hanging with us.
Well, I feel that when you speak your truth and you don't have an agenda, that things just comes naturally and you can just talk about it forever.
We also have some time right now. None of that shit exists.
Exactly. Yeah. But with that being said, I do have, according to humans, an early appointment in the morning that I need to go to.
Yeah, we don't want to hold you.
Yeah, it's a balance. We understand the balance. It's good.
Yeah, we appreciate you for taking this time out and coming on the channel and speaking your truth. We definitely appreciate it. You know what I mean? It's gonna be up. You know what I mean? So feel free to share it to the people that you may know. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is what we doing it for.
Okay, that's all good. So hopefully you'll have some more topics that resonates with me, and I could jump
yeah.
on.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to have you back for sure.
definitely.
Okay. With that being said, in the human terms, have a serendipitous night.
Peace, peace. Thank you. Much love.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yeah, man.
That's super lit again, and I'm glad you said because I was thinking it because it's just like and that's why kind of like when I asked her about how was she able to be rebellious in her time, like at that time I would think that everybody would be damn near either forced to go to church or that
Yeah,
part of their natural upbringing and they wanted to go to church. So when she was like, nah, bro, like I was calling off, like, oh shit.
right.
And
Really, really rebellion.
yeah, there was I think this is my first time actually talking to somebody and that she said she didn't want to be called an elder, but at that age to where she just like, hey, look, this is what it is outside of
Oh,
all the other shit. That was dope.
that's why I said it's not a lot of people uh on that when it
Yeah,
comes to what I'm saying, like
yeah,
that caliber. And it's just like that's what really sends it over the top, because it's not a lot of people that I could say in the essence of looking up for the wisdom. It's
yeah.
not a lot of people, bro. You know what I mean? It's just it
Right.
is what it is. Like most of the people that I know that's a couple of years older than me, not talking like that. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like
yeah,
they're
right.
not coming with that type of information. You know what I mean? So
Right.
for other people to watch this channel and to watch her speak her truth, especially from like a
Hey,
youth
I'm gonna tune in back
perspective,
to
you know what
y'all.
I mean? Like they getting what everybody was missing. You know what I mean? At that age.
At that age, yeah.
So
Because now they're like, hey, well, and
right.
and I'm gonna say this jokingly, but if they were at that age, well, grandma, hey, I saw this other lady that's your age is talking some different shit.
Right. Exactly. Uh-huh. They got that contrast for real.
Yeah, but it allows you to get more than just one side and shit. So that's the
Yeah.
part. Because again,
Yeah.
like even with me, there wasn't nobody in my family. It started with me, and I would like to think that as far as outwardly speaking this shit, like you know what I mean in terms of that,
Yeah.
like hell yeah, and
Mhm.
it was just like oh shit, what this nigga, you know what I mean? But now,
Yeah.
yeah, now it's just so normal that like now people
Yeah.
get it, they understand, like you know what I mean. So just
Mhm.
to as they say, break the generational curses. It's pretty dope to do that, man. And it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of, hard times and shit. Like, you know what I mean? So I
Hell
salute
yeah.
everybody who naturally just, just is themselves, and speak their angle of light. Because if we don't have those certain people, then, certain shit wouldn't pop off like how it does.
Right. Exactly. That's a fact. That's a fact. All them perspectives, man. And again, that wisdom. You know what I'm saying? It takes some time to get to certain levels of understanding. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
hell yeah.
So especially with everything, they didn't seen, and just they didn't grew up in different times. So
Woo, man.
you know what I mean? To even incorporate that aspect of it into the now time,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean, all the changes and everything that they didn't seen, man. It's like, bro, they got a whole. It's you know what I'm saying, like they encyclopedias done, awoken and shit. You know what I mean? At that level, you know what I'm saying? So
Man,
yeah, man, that shit is so dope, man, for reals.
hella dope.
Don't get a lot of that. You don't.
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare, but it's highly appreciated for sure.
Man, she was dropping some gems too.
That,
Dropping straight gems.
yeah, yeah. She's definitely going to make that was a bar reel. She's gonna make that.
Yeah, yeah. I need to get one of them sound hits. That's a bar.
Yeah, we're going to incorporate that. I really want to do that. Like, hey,
We got a facility do that. Everything. They start dropping bars. I'm like, hey, you rap? What you do? You spitting that shit, huh? You do poetry. I was gonna ask her, like, hey, you do some poetry? She was coming with some of that shit.
Right.
But yeah, nah, man, it was a good show. Can you make it into the kingdom of heaven?
Yeah, definitely.
She broke that down because when she was like nobody, I'm thinking like nobody, but you know, she broke the whole word down like no body, physical body.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that made all the sense. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
Definitely.
We see what
Just
you
coming
coming
in
at.
like, man, just because again, just talking to what you would consider a stranger and have so much shit in common. That's the dope shit.
Bruh, that's a fact.
Dope shit. Like, man.
That's a fact. That is a fact. And that I honestly think that take it over the top with all of this. You know what I mean? Like the last show, we had a couple of loser guys just come in, and you know what I'm saying? Like just the frequency and the energy was just like off the rip. And it didn't still don't even, you know what I'm saying? Ain't never met bruh in person a day in our lives. And the energy was just as if we was been sitting down talking and shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's phenomenal, man. It's crazy just to do that. And again, like, that's why this podcast that we're doing is so dope, because I think the more that people understand the energy that we're putting out, then they're going to put that much energy in, and it's going to be crazy, bro. So yeah.
I will say this though, whenever we get one of them ones that slide in here, you know what I'm saying, whether we do know or don't know, because I'm thinking for the most part, anybody that do come on that we do know, they know us. You know what I mean? And they know the shit that we talk about and the shit that we promote, the shit that we post. They know the energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they gonna already come with a certain type of energy off the rip, but it's gonna be the ones that don't know. You know what I mean? And come in and it's like, all right, let's see. You know what I mean? Let's build it up real quick.
It's a level of freedom, because now it's not a presupposed ideology on what type of energy that we're gonna come with. So
exactly.
But this dope, man. Episode number 2.
Number 2. We ain't go 6 hours.
Yeah, nah.
We kept this one nice and short. Even the people that's probably watching, like, nigga, 3 hours? Shit, that ain't even that probably ain't short to them, you know what I'm saying? But
definitely.
Everybody that, still out, I don't know who's still in here. Like, we got a couple people in here, man. Salute to everybody that's still in here.
Yes.
I seen people jump in for a cool little minute and then tap out, but just the fact that we got y'all in here, we could even do this live and be interacting with the chat, man. That shit is so tight.
Super lit. We are the I Am. Again, we appreciate y'all because y'all part of this shit too.
Exactly.
Good.
Exactly. So yeah, man, that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's it, man. I don't know if we because I know we ain't got the outro. But we do.
We got the intro for the outro.
Yeah.
For real. We got the intro for the
outro. Next Thursday, same time.
Yes.
Hit
us with some topics.
Hit the like, subscribe. Exactly. I was just going to say the same shit. I'm glad you said that. If y'all want to, discuss anything or have us discuss anything, whether you want to be just in the chat or as a guest on here, just drop the topics down and we'll try to get to it ASAP.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me drop the email real quick.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that
let me while you doing that, I'm gonna drop y'all shit real quick. Can you see
that?
Okay. Shameless plug. How clear is that? Let me turn down the brightness on this ring.
I've been using mine the whole show and shit. You know what I'm saying?
I use it a little bit.
I know the brightness is kind of crazy. But yeah, the naturalwayonly.com, man. Hit that link too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Free
sir.
your mind 528 at Gmail. If y'all got some topics, send it in the email. You trying to get on the show with a topic, jump in the email, or if you got us on Facebook or Instagram or something, hit us in the DM. You know what I mean? We accepting all of that.
Everything.
But yeah, man, appreciate everybody for jumping on. I go by the name of Selfmade for the outro. This is it, episode 2. Looking forward to episode 3. That Trinity, you know what I'm saying? And we going up, man. We going up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, salute again to everybody who's out there. I ain't got too much to say. We didn't already said it. Peace. We out.
Peace.
Always going up, you can't take from us. We ain't slowing up. Look what life gave us. Always going up, you can't take from us. We ain't slowing up. Look what life gave us.